What is up, guys? Welcome to Counterculture with Human Performance Live. We're here to take your questions, talk about TRT, everything you need to know, all the bullshit that's out there that's not true. I am Mike from Copville, and I'm here with Phil.
How you guys doing?
What's going on? So, go ahead. I didn't watch much of what you and Tyler talked about last. What was last week's major topic?
So it was just a whole bunch of different putting to bed a lot of nonsense that people hear. We had a guy comment in, which at first kind of seemed like he was kind of being a dick, but it ended up being a really good question in reference to if you start taking testosterone, it's going to immediately kill your production and all this stuff. And he was asking it in a question type of way, but it seemed like he was kind of be a dick about it. But
Yeah,
we put it to bed, and he actually listened to us and brought it back and was like, "Oh man, I didn't think about it that way."
that's one of the most common. So I have no problem airing everything. I took my first legal, and of all, I did some illegal stuff, but my first actual testosterone started in about 20. I actually lied to you earlier. It was like 2010, 2011. I didn't work out. I wasn't in shape. I was a raging alcoholic, but I went to the doctor, talked about, libido. I was getting older, energy, all that stuff. I had a really cool doctor who was like, watch this. So I started getting testosterone legally about 2010-ish, and immediately it helped. Now, obviously, I didn't put it to good use because I wasn't training, working out, eating properly, but I can say the overall initial reaction was, wow, I'm a lot more energy. I feel a little bit better. Like all those things came around. And then one of the most common things everybody always says whenever I suggest it now is, oh, I'm not gonna be able to have kids. It's the same thing. I'm not gonna be able to have kids. It's gonna, and that's all nonsense. That's not.
We got Clomid, we've got Clonopine, we've got all kinds of stuff to make sure that you don't get testicular atrophy. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, if you're out there blasting tons of gear, trying to get to the Arnold Classic, or you weigh $140 and you want to be 260 by the end of the year, you can realistically do it, but you're going to blast a lot of gear for it. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to hurt your body. It's going to kill your kidneys, your liver. And then you hear these guys getting on like massive amounts of growth hormone. Like, for instance, the Liver King, they found out that he was on 11 grand a month. What most people don't understand about growth hormone, if you take growth hormone that's synthesized from a lab, you're going to end up having all of your organs, all of them growing. Well, you only have so much space for that shit to go. So, and that's why a lot of these guys are dying, because their hearts are growing so big.
That's that they call it the HGH gut too, right? That's why their gut starts protruding, because it's growing out.
It's between that and insulin use.
Okay. Yeah, I've done growth hormone. I've never screwed my insulin. I competed once back in, what's funny is I competed once in like 2016. I had no business. And in about 2018, when I tried out for SWAT, I was actually probably could have placed. I was in that good of shape when I started training for SWAT, but I never got into like insulin. And I mean, you start getting dangerous with that stuff. So the other thing everybody always says, they generically call it steroids.
Yes.
Which is false. You're not on steroids.
Nope.
You are on testosterone therapy replacement. That's what you're on. A doctor gives you a prescription. You can fly with it. You can walk around town with it. You can take a drug test and pass. There's nothing illegal about being on testosterone. It's just got that negative stigma of the word steroid attached to it, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's not steroids.
Well, and it's a therapeutic dose of testosterone. So if you talk to any doctor that knows what you're talking about when it comes to men's testosterone, your level should be between 800 and 1,000. And if you're great at 800, stay at 800. If you're great at 950, stay there. But every doctor will tell you that that's the range that they would like to see you in. Doctors that care, doctors that aren't playing the whole insurance game.
Yeah.
And those are two different people. And if you get your numbers come back and they're at 260 overall testosterone, we're bridging that gap. We're not trying to get you punched past that. We're just trying to get you to your happy number, basically.
And I worked around one of the first therapy places that came into town, and I remember hearing those numbers. A lot of the guys would be comfortable talking with in the gym. Obviously, there's openly talk about everything in the gym, steroids, all your numbers. But most of the guys I knew who were going to get tested were that area, like 200, 20, 250, like just terrible. And I'm like, man, you guys are like, there's nothing going on. You have nothing's happening for you guys. And just like anything else, I always joked like if you had a car, why would you not put the right gas in the car? Like, why put diesel in a fucking gas car and watch it run like shit? It may start, it may run, but it's not going to perform. So I always said, like, why wouldn't you want optimal performance for your body? You're gonna try to diet, you're gonna try to do all these other things, you're gonna take all this shit you see on TV, all these supplements that pop up, but you're not giving yourself the natural substance that your body produces to make you perform at just a normal level, really.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that I think it's finally coming around. I wrote it through when I started. The doctor was all for it, and then came the prostate cancer. Everybody talking about prostate cancer. You're going to die. You're going to get cancer. So then the doctor got really sketchy. The same doctor was like, oh, I don't know about this stuff anymore. Studies are saying this and that. And then it came around to the point that same doctor looked me dead in the face and said, man, if I was 25 years younger, I'd be running triple what I would give everybody else. Like you realize the benefits of testosterone and how good it was. And now we're seeing it. And like you said, though, it's got to come from a legitimate place that's not out to make money. Like all these, like, get rich quick pop up, almost like the pill mills that popped up all over South Florida. These clinics have popped up, and they're charging astronomical amounts of money, like $300-400 a month for subscriptions to this stuff.
I was with one.
Yeah, and it's outrageous, and it's very affordable when you do your research for a company like yours, and you're not getting taken advantage of. You have a company that's trying to help you perform. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and we've had guys that, and like you said, they came in with their numbers were 500-600. Now, obviously, I'm going to preface every conversation with this. I am not a doctor. I've been taking testosterone for about 16 years. So everything that I say is based off of my experience and experience from my buddies. And I think we've all kind of taken the steroid back in our day, and trying to push something that you shouldn't be pushing and not understanding the long-term effects of it. But at 47 with 15 surgeries, 5 on my back, 2 on left shoulder, both elbows, just a busted up body, I feel better now than I did when I was 25, 26 years old before my first major surgery. Yeah. And, I have 2 young boys like you saw earlier, and I get to run around with them, and we're going to the mountains tomorrow. And so it's like, I get to do those things again. And I never would have thought of that before I got my numbers dialed in. And I got, got everything that I'm taking where it needs to be. Yeah. So. And I have no problem discussing the fact that I've taken steroids. I've taken illegal steroids, but I preface that with, I had the same moment when I had 38, about 2014. I'd never had a gym membership, never worked out, didn't do any weightlifting. And then I got on that. I said, I'm taking this testosterone. Why don't I go put it to use? Right. And the transformation that I had in that first 6 months, where I put the diet and the workout and then the testosterone therapy together, was life-changing. And I was 38, made SWAT at 42. Now I'm 49. And I would say I'm in better shape than most guys that still work the job and drive around in a car at 49. And I have nothing to do, but I'm retired and do this, but I stay in optimal shape because it makes you feel better, makes your life better, makes your head clear. It just gives you clarity. And if you're not on TRT, you're not doing it, you're wrong. And you get to sleep again. You get to sleep. Yeah. So it's here we go. Mike chat about heavy set cops. Yeah, I get a lot of that. Heavy set cops. It'll help heavy set guys. You got to remember, this will help with all that motivation. If you're having trouble being motivated, if you're having trouble getting off the couch, go get your blood work done. I guarantee your levels are all jacked up. You got all kind of problems, and these clinics will, Humane Performance, will get you where you need to be. And explain to everybody how that works. How would they get in touch with you, and how would the process go for them to get started with you? So you just hop on the website, HP-TRT.com. scroll down to the bottom, and we have a contact email. We have 3 contact numbers. So there's always somebody that can answer a question for you. And it's probably the easiest thing you'll do. You can get online, you set up your package that you want or your plan that you want, and then you see the doc, get your blood work done. If you already have blood work from the VA or some other company, bring it. If it's within 6 months, we can use it. Even if it's like 5 months and 28 days, we can still use it.
You just upload that. You guys take care of that, upload it, and then have the doc review it.
Yep, doc will review it, and then our doc is amazing. He will look at your numbers, and then he will talk to you.
Yeah,
and that's when your numbers no longer matter.
Yeah, it's what he sees and what he optimizes based on you. Yeah. Let's get to some of these comments. Here we got.
All right.
Always thought these kids in high school running 750 weeks. Someone wants to make $1 a bottle. Yeah, I mean, back in these guys are selling grapeseed oil. That's why you don't buy it in a gym. And I'll be honest with you, I was around that stuff in the gym. I knew where to get it. Guys were charging triple the amount of money. You have no idea what you're buying. They're getting the stuff from China. They're getting it from Turkey. They're getting it from all over, and you have no idea what you're putting in your body.
Well, we also run grapeseed oil and sesame seed oil.
Hey, Phil, didn't mean to say what's up. Are you a former LEO?
I am not. I was not cool.
You were military only?
Military only.
What branch?
I broke my back in 2007 and then retired 2009. Air Force.
Oh, boy. Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was nice. Or taking real shit, getting gyno, very little research, and you'll be enough educated to find the right people to ask further. Yeah. And I'm open book. We talked about this before. I've dabbled in the substances, and I will say that you'll buy something from somebody and you'll break out terribly, and you're like, oh God, what did I get? What did I get this time? Is it heavy grapeseed? Is there no testosterone in it? So now that it's when I started, there was one doctor, and it wasn't like it is now with guys like you online. It was hard. So I'll be honest. It was like, God, I gotta go to the doctor, the insurance. Okay, I'm just gonna buy a bottle of test.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're getting. That's like I said, unless you're, know somebody that knows somebody, you really don't know what you're getting. So now that it's so affordable, it's so easy, and you're getting all the stuff that goes with it. Like you said, clomiphene and all the substances that keep your estrogen in order. Cause guys will get on test and their estrogen will go crazy. Now you're a man. Now you're a man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember taking some stuff, and I went and got my blood work done, and the doctor looked at me. He said, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "I've been nuts for the last month." And he goes, "You're currently a man and a woman at the same time." He's like, "Your estrogen is high enough to be a woman, and your testosterone's triple what a man should be normally." So he's like, and that's the things that you have to think about. Okay, it might be a little cheaper to get it on the market or get it from somebody, but you don't know what your blood work looks like. And if you walk into the wrong place with some shitty blood work, they'll be like, "Get out of here, man. You're doing all kind of crazy stuff."
Yeah. And as soon as they see that 1,500, 2,000, they're going to be like, no, we can't help you.
Yeah. You're gone. All right. Let's see here. What does HP come with? He's asking what it comes with.
Yes, it comes with anti-estrogen. It comes with testosterone, all your injectables, your ongoing doctor's visits. I got nothing against grapeseed oil as long as there's test. Yes, there will be test in it for sure. So I've tried both of them, and I don't really care either way. They both work great for me, sesame seed and grapeseed.
Somebody's asking what got you into this field.
Getting burned by a clinic charging too much money, and seeing how many guys out there that come from the cops and come from military and come from all these underserved industries. And we're taught how to do X, Y, and Z all the time. We're never taught once X, Y, and Z stops how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And that we need to address our bodies and our bodies telling us something. And we were never taught that. So I started seeing that massive hole. And I just, like everything else in my life, I fell face first into it by accident. And here I am.
Yeah. And here's one more. I don't know what all these numbers. This might be up your field. All these fancy things here.
Copper, zinc, and beef liver capsules, in addition to well-regulated tests. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see anything wrong with any of that.
Yeah, and that's all stuff readily available. What I noticed was, here's what I noticed about guys, and that's why I'm here to talk about HP-TRT. Guys will get into a clinic, and it's once you're there, they seem to go in, and even if it's overpriced and it's a little, they have trouble switching. So that's why this company is trying to make it very easy on you to switch. You get your blood work, you can upload it, because don't overpay for something. Don't get taken advantage of by these big corporations that are money grabbers.
Yeah.
You can get the same service from a veteran-owned company, somebody who's done this job, and all affiliated with law enforcement guys. Everybody in the network is, counterculture has some. I wouldn't talk about this if I didn't support this company 100%. Don't get in that rut of like, well, I'm paying $250, $220 a month, whatever it is, and I don't want to. It's easy. It's the same doctor. He already knows me. That's not no way to live. You wouldn't go pay triple for your groceries. You wouldn't go pay triple for an oil change just because that's a place you always went. So when I talk to guys sometimes and I try to push this, it's like, well, I'm already going, my guy. I'm like, well, make sure you take a look, like shop around. Don't just keep paying some outrageous amount of money. And then you're just by the third or fourth payment of that month, you'd be, you get 6 months at this company or 7 months. So it's like, look into companies and get what is best for you. Like,
and we do things that other companies don't do. Like we have certain packages. Like we have a package called the Spartan package. It's off the base package. So you have testosterone, NAD plus, Samorlin, and then we have a big boy package, which you would be interested in. And it's got aminos, it's got L-carnitine, it's got Samorlin, test, NAD plus. Like, it is a big boy no shit package. And if you are not comfortable doing that shit, because you're going to be injecting a lot.
Yeah.
But
a lot of that's insulin needles, though, right? Some of those are
they're all insulin needles. And I was telling Tyler this last week. I'm waiting on my package to get here, but I'm getting needleless injectors.
I've heard about this.
I've been talking to the owner of the company. He's sending me a sub-Q and a intramuscular device. It's in customs right now. So if anybody knows anybody in customs in Chicago, help me out.
Help us out.
But there's no air involved. It's a spring operated mechanical system because liquid cannot be compressed. So once you hit that button, that spring operated pressure pushes the plunger down, which now makes the liquid its own syringe. So, and instead of it being a knot right in your leg, it actually spider webs, because liquid will go to the least path of resistance. So it follows the muscle fibers. So you might get better absorption.
So when I went to MEPS, some of the shots were needleless, but they were hitting us with that shit from what was going in. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Like you walked through that line when you first got in basic, and it was like zap, 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 and then there was one or two that were like, it just went in. It wasn't even a needle. But
it felt like it was hot.
Yeah, I remember. All right, here's this. What's this one say? People say it's cheating, and that's you know what?
What are you cheating though? What fucking sport are you playing?
Yeah, and when you're taking, again, you're taking something that's naturally produced by the body. Now, when you get into steroids and you get into, EQ, trend, D-ball, okay, now you're cheating. That's substances that are not.
You're cheating your family is what you're cheating.
You're not. You're killing your liver. You're killing your kidneys. You're doing all those things, and you're going to get big quick, but it goes away at the end of the cycle, and you fall apart, and then you have health issues to follow. So, I don't consider testosterone cheating. Have I cheated in the past? Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a liar. I'm not going to lie to you. I have cheated, but I can tell you, I've paid the price for doing that stuff too. I've had night sweats and piss that looks like fucking copper, like all that stuff. And then you go to get your blood work, and I said the doctor looks at you like, "How are you good? Like, you're going to die?" So
I know. And I love, to answer your question, I love peptides. I'm on a bunch.
Yeah, I like the BP 157.
Yep, I'm on that.
My knee, I take that for my knee, and with the TB 500 mixed in, and then that's the only one I really dabbled in. The guy down the road told me about it, and I ended up jumping on that.
I have a peptide guy for you then.
Any negatives that you see for type 1 diabetics?
Okay. That would be a question that you need to speak to a doctor about. I am not going to even try to bullshit you and make you think that I know what I'm talking about. When it comes to diabetes, it can be super scary. We do have a couple guys that actually do have type 1 diabetes. and they're on it, but they are monitored way closer than like me. I get my blood test every 6 months. And there's some other, things that people have that you really have to get it dialed in. If you'd like to talk to our docs, reach out to me and we can let you talk to the doc before you really get into anything crazy.
I had chicken and rice. Isn't that the standard answer? Chicken and rice.
I have not had dinner yet.
I'm in a cutting cycle of I'm going on a cruise August 3rd. So I started about a week and a half ago. My calories are way down and I'm miserable and I'm doing cardio twice a day and in the sauna and it's been great. So
why are you doing that? Fuck that. I'm gonna let my big old beer dog hang out.
I know. Me and my wife haven't gone out to dinner for like a couple months, like other, here and there, back to back, 2 out of 3 nights, I believe it was, badass Italian restaurants. And I had to sit there and stare at the bread and just not eat it. And like, look at the bread, everybody. And I ended up getting, what I get the first night? I got a good piece of mahi. Then the next night I got chicken piccata. And I'm thinking, all right, it'll be great. My piece of chicken was like this. I guess when you ordered piccata, they shrink it. And then the chicken parm came out for her mom's birthday dinner. And the fucking piece of chicken was like this big. I'm like, how did this happen?
How did that work?
So, but here's what I do. I get in the sauna after my workouts and suffer for like 20 to 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that is my motivation to not eat bad. Cause I go, you just sat here post cardio and suffered. So that's my life.
You do ice baths too?
They have one. I haven't tried it yet. There's the gym I go to just added. They have a sauna, the infrared sauna, and then they have the ice bath right next to it. I haven't jumped into the water yet.
Do the research on doing those.
I've seen Rogan talk about it. Yeah,
they're awesome.
I might try it. All right, let's see. You're cheating the people watching, in my opinion. I think in order for a man to compete at his max level, he needs to have high testosterone. Trenkov sucks. Yes, it does. Fucking late. You're here now. I'm type 2, the fat guy one, and my doctor says test my levels every month. Hopefully you're able to do it.
Yeah.
Canned tuna. Always eat canned tuna. That's always good stuff. Still no calf raises. I skip leg day. I don't care how much testosterone leg day gives you. I'm not taking it. I think I've heard you talk about your cruise every podcast. Sounds like you're excited. What else I got to talk about? At least you're watching. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow night too on my other live show. Ice bath is intimidating. It is. The sauna, I don't mind. It's just, man, that fucking cold, dude. I don't know. So they're saying joint. What is it? Joint. It's helping with your joints and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I went and we have a place in Kansas City that does like cryotherapy, and you go into this chamber.
Yeah, I've done the chamber.
I like the chamber better than I like the ice bath, just because I can focus more in the chamber, and nothing beats getting down to fucking negative 300 degrees.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And thinking, holy shit, I'm standing in this right now. So, but my body, like 2 days later, my body felt so good. It just helps so much with inflammation. And I've got tons of that with all the surgery I've had. So,
yeah, I have a blown left knee. I'm waiting on surgery. VAs just did the x-rays. I'm waiting on the MRI. I know I need at least a partial replacement. And then my left shoulder's shot. But I have noticed that the infrared sauna it's not as, obviously it doesn't create the humidity.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, you go in a regular sauna, you feel like you're breathing fucking smoke, like, thick ass air. It's not like that. That one is like it's hot, but it's comforting. And then when I get out of it, I'm like, man, I feel much better.
Loosened up. And
yeah. And then, like I said,
you should try some Moreland as well. That help with your growth hormone at night.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy too.
So we got all the supplements. What else do you recommend? Obviously diet is going to be very important, right?
Yeah. So diet, and
that's what I want you to talk about, because guys go, I've always had guys walk up to me and say, I'm going to jump on tests. I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to dirty gains, dirty bulk. Explain that, how that doesn't work, please.
It doesn't fucking work. If you want dirty gains, you want to gain a fuckload of, muscle, get on some stupid shit that you buy behind the gym. I don't recommend it. It's dumb, because you're going to pay for it. You will pay for it. It's not if you will, you will. Testosterone is what is produced in our body naturally. All we're doing is we're bridging a gap from what you're missing So if you don't go to the gym, you don't work out, you don't have to go to the gym. Go walk, go do push-ups, do pull-ups. Your body will start being more receptive. Testosterone helps you sleep. Testosterone helps you recover so much better, and it helps get inflammation out of your body. So if you're low on testosterone, your body is not going to want to do shit, and that's why you're going to be tired all the time.
Yeah.
So with these guys that are wanting to bulk up, great, I love it. You have to work.
Yes.
And everything that you do, if you want it to work, you have to fucking suffer somehow. Whether your family suffers time, whether you suffer, missing appointments, missing, birthdays, holidays, stuff like that, you're gonna have to suffer, which means you have to work out. You have to get in the gym. You have to change your life. That's why I'm not a big fan of like GLP-1s for weight loss, because you can dump 30 pounds in 30 days, which is completely unsafe and completely unhealthy. But if you end up doing a lifestyle change, not only are you going to lose the weight, but you will keep it off because you now have the tools in order to be able to control that aspect.
And that's where I've always joked when I say you guys are the people doing what's the one where they lose all the weight?
Ozempics.
Yeah. So I always say you're taking the wrong needle, especially if you're a man. If you're a woman, okay, maybe you decide to do that. But you notice that they all they lose the muscle in their face. And
do you know why?
It's eating the muscle. It's getting rid of it, right?
That shit?
I don't know. No.
It's Gila monster venom.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Which causes your stomach to atrophy, which means you cannot absorb nutrients anymore. So
you're not hungry. So you're not hungry. You're just dying. Yeah. Yep. So when I see these guys go on Ozempic and I look at them, especially men, women, whatever you want to do. I know women are scared of like sometimes hormones and looking manly and all that stuff, which is also false if you do it correctly.
It is.
But I always say you're taking the wrong fucking needle. You're sticking yourself with the wrong needle. Why would you want to shiver or shrink down and just look like I don't get it. I see these guys just dump the weight and I'm like, bro, your arms are like a schoolgirl size arms now. You have no chest. You have nothing. And I look at you and go, I would have rather had you fatter because you had some muscle still and you could probably at least lay on somebody or hold them down. Now you look like a fucking sick kid who has like no business.
Proverbial dad bod.
Yeah, the cops are doing it like crazy. I watch these dudes and like you're like, bro, oh God, Ozempic's huge in law enforcement, man, male and female. These guys are dumping weight like nuts, and all they're focused on is a scale. And I've everything I talk about, I've done wrong. I did the same thing. I focused on the scale right before I started doing testosterone and working out completely, and I lost the weight. I got down to 185, and I was like, I'm 185. My arms were this big around. I had a little gut, and I had no chest, but I was 185.
Yeah.
Then I was 185 at 4% body fat at one point in my life, and I looked like a completely different human being and somebody that you didn't want to fuck with. So that's what I see happening is these guys get scale focused. Yeah. All they want to do is see the number on the scale go down, and they don't care about anything else. And then
you get hyper-focused on one thing.
What the girls do, this is my favorite part about the girls. The girls become fitness influencers when they take Ozempic because they stuff all that loose skin into those tight ass pants. Yep. And then they go pose in the gym and talk about hard work, gains, and give blah, 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 blah. And you didn't do anything. You literally didn't. You jammed yourself with a needle and didn't eat. Yep. And now you're skinny and you're claiming that you are some influencer, and it drives me.
And then 5 to 6 years, they'll either have all that weight back, or their kidneys will be shutting down, their liver will be shutting down, their stomach will atrophy so much that they can't.
Gila monster venom.
Who
the fuck decided to take that the first time? Like, where was that?
I want to know how the fuck they convince people that they're deficient in Gila monster venom.
And the FDA approves this, right?
Yeah, it's FDA approved.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Mike, do you have any advice? As I'm headed in my career in law enforcement, I started BJJ. As I told you already, my habits should get what he just said: gym, lifestyle. Everybody, all cops talk about is family, family, family. Well, part of that is making the baseball game. Part of that is being a good husband. But a big part of that is making sure you're not brought home with your wife doesn't get a flag handed to her at some point in her career or in your career, or you're laying in the hospital because you got your ass whooped because you can't defend yourself or you're not muscular and in shape. So you see a lot of the posts I do call out a lot of fat cops.
Yeah.
Say it pretty plainly. If you're not optimal performing in all aspects, you are doing everybody around you, including the citizens, your family, and yourself a disservice. You have to be in shape, and you have to, work hard. And you might miss one or two of things. You might be late to a game. You might have to go to the gym, but that's going to keep you alive. Going to your son's baseball game is not going to keep you alive. Like, it's going to be cool that you're there, but if you're not there for the next 200 of them because you're dead, well, I bet he wishes dad would have missed one or two games along those years instead of making every game and then ended up
to learn
dead.
how to take care of himself. Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's see here. Send me the guy's info. What's this one? 30 games, you go nosebleeds, heavyweight, blown blood vessels. Yep. Yeah, it goes. And joints, dude. I will be honest with you. The biggest mistake, well, I'm very honest. When I did my first steroid cycle of illegal steroids, I got so strong so fast that this is why I have all these problems. I blew my freaking joints out and my tendons out because the strength was there, but all the all the other muscles, all the stuff that was support muscles were not ready for that.
They didn't grow with it.
No, because I grew
the main muscle will grow, but your tendons won't grow fast enough and heal fast enough in order for it to be able to support that.
Yep.
Now, if you do this slowly and you build up, then you're okay. But nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I did. I walked in, I started, and I had this big Haitian dude, my buddy, and I went from a 175 bench to a freaking 315 bench in about 6 months. Like that.
Wow.
And it was just and I was like, but then now I really can't bench anymore because my shoulder's so jacked that I'm strong enough, but my joints don't want to work anymore. So everything's lighter.
Do you know Jay Cutler does not bench?
He does dumbbells.
Yeah. Because
that's all I do.
Everybody ripped their pecs back then, everybody was ripping their pecs because they were so big, they had to lift so much weight and they were just hurting themselves. He's like, I'm not going to hurt my shoulder or hurt my chest or this is how I make money.
I prefer dumbbells now because I've got it just from that overextension of my left shoulder is just toast.
Well, in bench press you can't like really get that stretch that you want to get. So
I think the dumbbells are better because and all those abductor muscles are working with it and you're balancing and you're moving, and I find them better. And for me anyway, same happened to me with Ozempic shit. I lost some muscle mass, specifically my arms, and then again, I don't know why you're on Ozempic at 19 unless you're really heavy, but you're better off in the gym, man.
Man, get a hold of us.
I am married to a cop. I always read one of the basic starts, like you said, walk is you don't have to go in the gym like a maniac. I always say these numbers to people. When somebody asks me, what should I do? I say 10, 3, 30, 10 incline, 3 miles an hour, 30 minutes. That's a great baseline starting spot in the gym. If you're intimidated, you don't know what to do, and you just want to start losing weight and getting going, just go walk incline on the treadmill. That's all you got to do. 30 minutes a day. And that's all the cardio I'm doing right now. I'm not running. I'm not doing anything crazy. I go to the gym. I hit full incline on the treadmill, do about 4 miles an hour, about 20 minutes. I work out, hit the sauna, and then I come back and do a second round of cardio in the evening. And that's about what I'm doing, but nothing crazy, no CrossFit craziness. Just start walking, start moving, getting your body moving, burning those calories. And then obviously the kitchen is the other most important part of it.
Yeah, that's the thing is you have to, if you're gonna go into this world, you have to be ready for everything that this world encompasses. Mm-hmm. And that's sacrificing eating, like my wife will go buy, because we got 2 young boys, she'll go buy, croissants or whatever and put them on the counter or whatever. And my sons think I'm weird because I don't really eat candy. I don't really eat a bunch of junk. And like we were driving cross country yesterday and they just, can I have gummy worms? Can I have this? I was like, no more junk food. And you guys aren't getting anything tomorrow. So, I don't want to build those habits to my kids where just because we're on a road trip means you can eat dog shit food.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst on road trip.
I'm bad with it though, because we'll get like pork rinds and all kinds of shit. So it's I have to control myself.
You know what gets me? Chewy sprees. I walk through racetrack. Wawa doesn't have them. I walk in the racetrack and they got this big ass bag. And it's like 190 calories for like 15 of them. And I probably eat the whole bag. Nice. I'm terrible. That's what happens to me. I go really good about dieting and all that. And then I kind of just go, I'm good. I got where I wanted to get. And then ice cream. And then.
And see, that's the thing. That's the key word. That's the key statement. You got where you wanted to get.
And then I stop.
But if you don't continue it, you have to get
Yeah.
back to that phase. And the older we get,
It's
and we're
harder.
not young bucks, man.
No,
It gets
no.
harder and harder and harder. And it doesn't matter how much fucking gear you throw at it.
Well,
It's
here's what I
still-
say. If you look at me, I'm ripped, like, and then it's just right here. That stomach when you're older is even as much as I work out, even if I stay in the gym, work out hard.
Yep.
If I let my diet go to complete trash, I get the gut. And it's like, fuck. And it's like, where does everybody hate? Yeah.
L-carnitine.
Yeah, I've taken those. And I just, you can't outwork. I don't care what anybody says. You can't outwork the diet. And that's the other,
No.
like I said, it's all that, those stupid kids, when they get in there, and especially when they start using gear, they think, again, we just talked, you can't eat whatever you want. And then become 49.
Yeah.
Like you can't look at some foods and you're
Gaining
done.
weight.
Yeah. Incorporating intermittent fasting changed my life. People, yeah, I've done intermittent fasting. I'm kind of doing it now, but I'm drinking a shake right before I go to the gym, and then I'm doing the workout and the cardio, and then I'm eating my carbs when I get home. But I've done the fasting where I didn't eat till noon every day and did my, cardio in the morning. I think everybody's body, what do you think? Everybody's body is just a little different. That's going to be like, depending on intermittent fasting may work really well for one person, and for another person, it doesn't matter.
Well, I agree with that. But, the whole intermittent fasting fad, I guess we'll call it now, because it just kind of in the last few years really picked up big.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Rogan said he fasted. Now everybody fasts.
Yeah, Dana White does like 3 days, right?
Yeah, he does. But he did it because of his cholesterol levels, and like he was gonna die. Like he was not in a good way. He looks great now.
Yeah, he was heavy.
But he had to sacrifice and suffer in order to get where he is now at 54 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to pay attention to what he eats, and he has to pay attention to how he consumes these things and when he consumes these things. I'm not a massive fan of like fasting. I will eat only until a certain time at night, and then I won't eat until a certain time in the morning, but I've kind of always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes us back to like caveman, and even more recent, 100 years ago, they didn't really eat like we do. Like this whole breakfast thing didn't come around until the fucking 40s or 50s. And it was brought to you by Kellogg, who made a fuckload of money.
Yeah, you got to eat first thing in the morning and buy this sugary fucking cereal.
Yeah, which spikes your insulin, which spikes your, it fucks your system up. And we're doing that to our kids. We're giving our kids oatmeal. We're giving our kids all this shit that spikes their insulin levels.
Pop-Tarts.
And their sugar, their sugar levels. And it's good that they have such a fast metabolism that burns it up super fast. But do that at 47, 48, 49, 50 consistently.
The most humbling thing, or the humbling and wild thing to me, was when I first did the macro counting and actually looked what a scoop of peanut butter has in it. And I thought I put 5 scoops on every peanut butter jelly sandwich I ever ate. And I'm like, 1 tablespoon is 190 calories. And I'm like, 1 tablespoon? Like I got like 9 on this sandwich. And then jelly. Like
I have a quarter of the
it's like and then I started doing my first real diet I incorporated, where I lost all that weight and I got down to like 4% body fat. Was the first 2 meals were great and the rest of the meals sucked. It was yogurt and granola for the first meal, 8 o'clock. 10:30 meal was a half a bagel, peanut butter, and a shake. And the rest of the day was the trash. It was broccoli and chicken, blah, 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 blah. And I would wake up I would go to bed at night, like I couldn't eat past 7 p.m. It was like the last meal. And I would just stare at the clock all night and couldn't wait to get up and have the yogurt. But then I started, I'm like looking at peanut butter going, holy shit. And then even like almonds, I started looking at I'm like, almonds are good for you, right? No, fucking every 7 almonds is like 90 calories. It's like, there ain't a damn food on earth that you can really just pig out on. So it takes a level of like commitment.
We didn't start pigging out. That's why people were skinnier back in the day.
When they look at the fast food and all that. Yeah. Those guys were at the beach. The girls were at the beach. They all looked
amazing shape. Yeah. Even the fat people were skinny.
Yeah. I changed my dumbbells, way more smoother. You never saw a fat cop back in the day on the shows and all the old TV shows and all that. It was not a thing. Boss Hogg was fat, but he was supposed to be fat. Road trip calories do not count. I agree, Jordan.
I agree.
Fun facts. What is it a struggle managing a relationship when you were both on the job? I'm married 3 times, if that tells you anything.
So yes, it was.
No, it was great. Everything was great.
We were perfect.
It's always a struggle. And I've said this, and I love my wife. The hardest, I thought being a cop was the hardest thing on earth. Being married to a cop, in my opinion, is the hardest thing on earth. And I can think
I
about
think just being married in general is hard.
did it. I was
You're
gonna
taking, well, you're taking two people that
yes.
have their own values and their own thoughts and their own way of doing things, and you're cramming them together in a box and saying, get along.
Yeah, but
And not a lot of people can do it.
As a cop, you know, like I remember I worked narcotics for 6.5 years. I was always gone, phone going off at 1 a.m., informants, all that stuff. And nobody was going to tell me I wasn't doing that. I was going to do whatever I wanted. Then when I went to the road and back, it's like, I'm going to work night shift. I want to work nights. I want to. Well, then I became retired and I'm married to a cop. And I'm like, I don't want you working night shift. She's like, I'm fucking working whatever I want. And I'm like, that's right. You're a cop. But it's like, as a husband, you're like, I want you home at night and I want to be all that. But then the cop side of me goes, you're right. You know, I want you to be working where you want to work. So your brain is in the right place and you're doing the job you want to do. So two cops, obviously we're both alpha personalities. That can be challenging, but having that knowledge of her job and what the struggles are that she's going through and how things go, it's a little easier on, I think, both of us with that dynamic. But I can see where you're right. You're putting two people in the house together and you got one that has this high stress, crazy ass job that you can't walk in and tell a normal person what your day was like as a cop and have them really understand it. They think they do because they see TV and they see cops and they don't understand the struggle of the building, the struggle of the people, all that other stuff that goes into it. I could be here for 2 hours.
Military.
Yeah, I was in the military. It's the same shit. I was early military, 96 and 99. I really didn't get too much of it, but it's the same concept. Yeah. Sorry for all the please ask all the questions you want, man. Don't be sorry.
Man. That's what we're here for. Ask all the questions you need, man.
So yeah, and it can be challenging, but you know what adds to that challenge is when you're fucking fat and miserable and you can't move and you feel insufficient and that little guy's on your shoulder going, one of these days I'm going to get at it. One of these days I'm going to do it. One of these days. And then when you just got to make that day happen. And that's what these companies like HP-TRT are for, is it starts that process and puts you back on a level playing field that unfortunately your body just doesn't stay at that level playing field after it gets a certain age. What do you notice in the main age? What's your number?
Oh man. So I did a deep dive into this because I wanted to know why companies like mine were able to succeed so quickly. And it's only been over the last 5 years. I mean, they've been around for 15, 20 years, but they have not been popular. You and I talked about it earlier. They were taboo. Mm-hmm. You know, there's steroids, you're cheating, all this horse shit. You're going to get prostate cancer. Everything that you could imagine came from that. But so I started researching when we started finding a drop in male testosterone. So did you know, like 40, 50 years ago, men that were 60 years of age, 67 years of age, their testosterone levels were between 800 or 600 and 800.
Food, exercise, all the good stuff. They weren't eating processed garbage. They were working out. They had gym class where they did push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and all that shit.
Yep. And now you would struggle to find a 25-year-old with anything over 500.
They're killing
a 25-year-old.
They're killing us.
Yeah. All the microplastics, everything that's being put in our food. And this is another thing. So, and see, I told you I did kind of deep dive. Back, when did women start getting prescribed birth control?
20 years
ago?
En masse. I have no idea. You tell me.
Around between the 60s and the 80s is when they really started like ramping it up. 80s, it went through the roof, right? So when women go to the bathroom, this is going to be weird, but when women go to the bathroom, the toilet, they flush the toilet, where does that go? Water treatment facility, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what they can't pull out of that water? Hormones.
So it's in our water.
So you have elevated levels of estrogen.
Yeah.
And when men's levels go up for estrogen, their testosterone levels go down. So
is there a connection between I shouldn't say it. Never mind. Is there I really want to say it. Is there I wonder if there's a connection between tap water and transvestites.
I don't know that. I
wonder if they're drinking too much water out of the faucet. We drank out of the hose, which was straight, straight nasty from the ground. Now maybe all these people are
well, think about this. Some of these folks that go that way. I think it's because their levels are so elevated. That's how they feel. And like, if you feel like that, then maybe that's, that could be a real thing. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I would not get back into law enforcement. Maybe at Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs Police Department, Georgia. They got me pumped. Jordan Innes works there. He's asking right now, your best med peptides for joint health support and recovery. I think we talked about it, but what's your answer for that?
Samorlin, BPC 157 with TB 500. And I have a guy that supplies all of that to me too. And he's an amazing dude.
Samorlin's in the growth hormone family, right?
Yes. So you take it before you go to bed, and it works from your hypothalamus into your pituitary gland, sends a signal to your pituitary gland, says, "Hey, I'm hungry." It mimics ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and turns it on in your
do you know the
pituitary gland.
Do you know the dosage amounts? Hypothetically, if I had some and I was going to mix the water, how much would you put into
units. For the TB 500?
No, for the Samorlin. How much water are you putting in each vial?
If you get it from us, you get the vial already done. So you don't
so it's already got okay. So if you get it powdered, you have to add so much water, and then how many IUs you're going to take and all that. Okay,
that's right.
This one is for Phil. What's the biggest struggle in what you do and why you're trying? Why are you trying, or did you overcome it?
No, haven't overcome it. I kind of walked face first into this, and it was kind of a mess. We had some issues previously. The biggest struggle, I would say, is managing my time properly with my family, because I become obsessed with things that I really believe in, and it's a struggle sometimes. Like right now, I'm on vacation, and I prioritize what's important to me and to my family, because this is for my family. This is not even for me. This is for my kids. So eventually, this will all be left to them, or the aftermath will be theirs, whatever. But
hopefully not the bills.
Yeah.
What is your dosage for BP? Now, does yours come pre-mixed, or you have to mix the?
No, I have to mix mine. So it's 2.3 milliliters of BAC water.
Okay.
And then I dose Monday through Friday. I'll probably do 3 shots that week for BPC 157 TB 500 at 20 units a piece.
So that's 0.2 on the insulin needle.
Yes, 0.2.
So I'm going to take the water. I'm going to put 2.5 cc's of water into shake it up, keep it in the refrigerator.
Don't shake it up. Don't shake it up.
That's right. You
turn the bottle slowly. Don't ever squirt the water directly into it.
Okay. So spin it, and then I'm going to keep that in the refrigerator.
Yes.
Okay. Refrigerator. And then you're going to take the insulin needle. You're going to draw out just number 2 ticks, which is a very little amount. And you're going to take that 3 times a week, you said?
I take it 3 times a week.
Okay.
I did take it the last cycle. I took it 4 times or 5 times a week. But I didn't really see any increase in adding the
do you inject into your stomach, or do you go right where you're having the joint pain?
I do it in my stomach. The research I've read, I'm not seeing the difference between it being in that particular area. And my personal experience, I had this big knot on my shoulder that has actually gone away now, and it's been in my stomach.
Okay. I saw the Sandy Springs stuff. Guy looks like a legend. That's Ken DeSoma, is the chief of Sandy Springs, and he is a legend because they pit, and they just brought in the vascular neck restraint, which from some states it's illegal, but it's the most effective move in the world for stopping a threat versus minus a firearm, obviously, is number 1. But without killing anybody, the easiest one is the VNR. Yep, that's how you keep on. I posted a picture yesterday. Jordan Innes, it's in there. You've probably seen the video in Georgia State Patrol where the guy pits the F-150 pickup truck, rips the guy out the window on the hood of the truck car.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So that right here, this guy that just asked, that's him that did it. That's Jordan Innes.
Oh.
He left Georgia State Patrol and went to work for Sandy Springs Police Department, for probably the coolest chief I've ever seen. And an agency.
So that dude's the one that did it?
Yeah, this is the dude right here. He's in the chat.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is amazing, Jordan.
Yeah, I did a podcast with him, and he talks about it, and that's like his claim to fame. But if you go watch State Boys, is my buddy who runs a YouTube page. He's got just about every other video is Jordan Innes and his crew out there in Georgia State Patrol. He left the State Patrol and he went and worked for Sandy Springs Police Department. But he's a big fitness guy. He's big on supplements. He's big on BJJ training, and talks about the same thing you're talking about, that if you're not, optimizing your body, if you're not training, if you're not missing things to make yourself better, then you're just failing yourself and all your coworkers. So,
and your family.
Yeah.
If you're a big fat ass.
VNR is not a guillotine. A guillotine is a front choke. you're across the neck. A VNR is going to stop the blood from going to the brain, and no air is taken out of you. Nothing.
Good night.
No symptoms. All they do is they have to get cleared by it. It's like tasing somebody. They put them out, and all they have to do is get a medic to clear them real quick, wake them up, and take them to jail where they belong. So
I just lift their feet up after you handcuff them.
yeah, and then you go to like somebody from South Carolina asked me for their policy, so I got a copy of it and sent it, and then he sends me a copy of their state statute. Absolutely bans the whole Black Lives Matter movement with the all that shit stopped everybody from being able. But I didn't know this. Jordan was the one that told me. Kansas City Police Department has been using the VNR for like 20 years. They do it it's right in their policy. They do it whenever they want. They absolutely have no issues, never killed anybody, never had a problem. When done correctly, it's night-night.
You can't help it. Kansas City's leading the way.
Yeah. So, but it's funny that it's like but then you look at like a guy like Jordan Ennis, it's like everybody that gets into that cool shit all does the same stuff. They work out, they're big on supplements, they're big on, it's like a mindset, and I'm not a huge fan of that word, but it's like a mindset surrounds those people that train, that optimize their body, that do all these things, and it's easily seen. You're like, man, look at that guy. And it
Right.
De-escalation, which is the hot word in law enforcement. You know what's a good de-escalation technique?
A fucking monster walking up.
Looking like a fucking monster. And I will tell you, when I was a skinny armed little fucking punk, or when I weighed 240, fat as shit, nobody cared. When I got in shape and walked up, even though I didn't really know how to fight at that point until I started going to BJJ, it immediately was like, all right, fuck it, dude. I don't want to fuck with this guy. So it's
because he might be able to fuck me up.
Correct. So it's like, I have a video of it. Sounds pretty gnarly. Here's Jordan. Kansas City PD has over 150,000 applications of the VNR and never killed anybody.
Wow.
Have you tried connecting the Street Cop podcast? I was on Street Cop, or the Street Cop training. I did that podcast a while ago with Dennis. I don't know if you have. We can get you in touch with him and maybe talk to him. He does that. Still trying to get back to receiving services from HP. What happens for anybody that's having a problem? What do they do?
Call us. I'm out of town right now, but the girls are taking care of everything. We're still, and I apologize, we're still kind of behind on getting everybody's stuff out. Just shoot us an email if you can, and I will actually see that. Shoot it tonight, and I can see it, and I'll respond.
Where are we sending that to?
It's help at HP-TRT.com.
Help at HP-TRT.com.
And that's right on the website as well. The very bottom right hand.
So if anybody's having problems with their service, they're not getting anything, there's a problem, hit that up. Just look at Ronnie Coleman when he was Ronnie Coleman. He was on a little bit more than TRT, I think.
Yeah,
which
but
is
they
funny
were
because
pick the car up and throw it at him.
What's funny is he talks about it, and he says he was a genetic freak anyway, even before any drugs. He was a genetic freak, and he was obviously competing, and I've watched a lot of stuff on him. He was finishing like 5th or 6th natural. And he was like, if somebody walked up to him and said, bro, you're not going to win unless you do steroids. So, but he talks about only doing test and D-ball were really all he ran. He didn't get into trend and all that crazy shit. And, you know, Arnold, he was big on Prima bowling, which very mild, but, you know, I don't know if he got into that crazy stuff. Here's what I want to talk about right before we go. Something that I don't know if anybody's going to care, but I'm going to talk about it because it popped in my head earlier. I have a terrible, my family has terrible genes for their heart on my dad's side. My dad passed away at 54. His sister passed away at 54. My grandmother lived to be 90 almost, but she had quadruple heart bypass surgery. I have that bad side of the family heart. At one point, 2009, 10, 11, my heart was just below normal. 45% performance. It's supposed to be 50 to 55 is normal. I don't know if it's whatever it is. I have been on testosterone for about 10 years. And about 3 years ago, went for the first time, my heart moved from below normal to normal. Is it the working out? Maybe. Is it the diet changes better? Maybe. But I also have done testosterone for over 10 years. For people that think your heart's going to explode and you're going to die, my heart is actually better now at 49 than it was at 39. And I've been doing testosterone for 10 years, including illegal stuff. I've talked about it. I have done illegal stuff in cycles, never abused it like a maniac. But after all that, I am actually better physically now at 49 than I was at 39 as an out of shape, sloppy, look like shit. And my cholesterol's gotten better. My blood work's gotten better. And my blood pressure has gotten better. Now I do take some, I take mild amlodipine and some other stuff, but I was on the track of disaster.
Right.
I was able to bring that around to.
Well, what's your heart? It's a muscle.
Yeah. So now you can overdo it, or you can get it back to. That's awesome. I still prefer counterculture. I don't know what he's talking about there, but so, I mean, for anybody that is thinking or might think this is obviously what we're here for, you can DM me if you have any additional questions when this is over, and we'll get you in touch with the right place. But I think our goal here is to make you aware that don't walk around with an ill-performing body when there's a very easy fix to that.
And it's the crazy part is not only the easy fix, but it's a pretty painless fix. And especially once I get this injector and see how it works, and then I'm going to bring it on here, and Tyler's like, you're going to break the fucking internet with that thing.
I've seen some version of it.
Yeah. I've seen it under x-ray, and I've seen an injection under x-ray at the same time, and it is night and day. And I think it's gonna help a lot of dudes. You wouldn't realize how many dudes don't like needles, but I don't like needles either, but I know that is the carrier to what is going to make me feel better.
Let me tell you something crazy. I never injected my glutes until this year myself. This is the first time in my life. About 4 months ago, I finally stood there and I was like, bro, it's been 12 years. You got to get over it. I always did my shoulder. And they got so chewed up from the scar tissue and all that build up and the calluses that I was like, I can't do it anymore. And I finally graduated and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Now it's actually not that bad, but I would definitely prefer. I did my thighs. That is brutal to me.
Oh, I do my thighs every day.
When I first went to the doctor, that's where they did it. Well, I'm old now, so sometimes I injure my neck trying to look and do it. But I did my first doctor I went to legally, that was where they did the injections, was the thigh. And then I was like, okay, well, I did that a couple of times and my thigh muscle would jump and the needle would jump out. And I'm like, fuck this. And you have to be really careful down there because right where that muscle separates in your quad, you got to make sure you don't hit that spot between it. But then I did my shoulders for all those years. And then finally I graduated to my own. I'm a big boy now.
You're a big boy with the big shots now.
How did you and Tyler meet? So here's a funny story. I thought Tyler and I went to SWAT school together. And for the first 4 or 5 months that I told the story, I said SWAT school. What actually happened was we went to post-SWAT school. We didn't. We went to a red dot school through Florida SWAT Association together. And I started Copville as a meme page, the first page before I lost it. And anti-hero Tyler reached out to Copville, not knowing it was me, and said, hey, we want to have you on. We can hide your identity. And I remember I was driving from Melbourne back home. And I text Tyler. And I said, hey, man, give me a call. And I hadn't talked to him in 6 months. I was like, hey, man, I'm Copville. And he's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I run Copville. He's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, that's me. And then shortly thereafter, due to a potentially failed drug test for steroids, I was no longer employed. I was no longer employed, and here we are.
So allegedly.
Just wondering how long are the needles? I use a 1 inch.
I use a 30 half.
Real? Oh, you do so what you go in your thigh?
Yeah.
So you microdose in your thigh. Do you microdose?
I do half of because I do 1 ml a week. I do 50.5 on Monday and 0.5 on Thursday.
Right in your thigh.
Right in my thigh.
Have you ever done your lat?
No, I can't reach back.
Oh, you're too big. I can reach. So I go right here. When I'm going to do the 30 gauge, I go right in there, half and half. And then I use a 1 inch, which if you're going to get a glute, it's usually 1 inch. I'm a baby, so I go 25 gauge, but most places is like a 23 gauge 1 inch.
I do 30 gauge and I separate it like you're going to tattoo that area, and I pop it in. And then when you let go, it stops. Thanks, man.
Well, that's about an hour. You got anything you want to close with? Make sure everybody can get in touch with you. You want to run it one more time so they know where to go and how to get the good stuff.
Yeah, man. HP-TRT or HP-TRT.com. Help at HP-TRT.com for the email. We also have another email. It's Humane Performance TRT @gmail.com.
There's no E.
And all of our numbers are, what's that?
There's no E in human, in case I
No E in human.
I sent the link to him
Mike
earlier, and I
Tucker
spelled
was.
human with an E, so I'm a moron.
So somebody with an E at the end of their email address is getting that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just give us a call. All of our numbers are at the bottom. I'll be out for another week or so, but if it's something urgent, send me an email that says urgent, and we'll get you taken care of.
Yes, and anybody needs to get. Obviously, I answer all my DMs because I'm an absolute fucking maniac, and I respond to everything. So if you have any questions, you forgot any of those email addresses or anything, get with me. I can get in touch with Phil. We'll get you connected, and we appreciate you guys tuning in.
Perfect.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right.